Yes. Yeah, good evening all. So before I start, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear, whether the screen is visible or not? Yes.
Yes. Vinay.
So just we are introductory session yesterday related to this Azure Data Engineer. Just I take 5 minutes what we have discussed yesterday. So why Azure Data Engineer, role of Azure Data Engineer compared with data scientist and data analyst and various Azure data engineering products or services and job market of Azure Data Engineer, right? Generally, if we discuss the difference between this on-premises and cloud. So in the case of on-premises, we need to set up our own hardware infrastructure on top of that OS installation of database server, designing database objects. To maintain all this, we require separate teams, like hardware team is required, operating system team is required, networking team is required, security team is required, database administrators are required, right? All this many teams required. But here in the case of cloud, all these are not required. In the case of, so here everything in the cloud premises, we no need to maintain all this, no need to maintain all this kind of infrastructure, no need of any licenses. Here everything in the cloud environment. So data engineers, with the help of all these cloud services, they work on data and make it structured and useful, right? Data engineer, they are going to prepare the data as per the requirement, and they're cleansing the data, filtering the data, and transforming the data as per that, and the processing of the data. Previous, like if you talk about this data scientist and data analyst, just is data scientist, it's recommendations for the future, strategizes for the future, predictions for the future, right? Analyzing the data, identifying the patterns and recommendations for the future. Data analyst, not for the future. Yes, he is going to summarize the past, analyzes the data, and just is going to visualize the data, right? Okay, data engineer, right? What is data engineering involves? It involves, right? What are the sources of the data? From where we need to pull the data from? What is the format of the data? And how to transform this data? And what is the destination of the data? What is the target, right? We need to write the data too. Data engineer, right, does all the groundwork for this data scientist and data analyst. More than 80% of this data analysis, right, whatever we say, extracting, transforming, loading, all this done by this data engineers. So today, if you see the word data engineer, you are seeing very recently, you are hearing the word data engineer. Previously, if you go back like 10 years, 10 years back or 15 years, there is no like a data engineer, right? We see like developers, like ETL developers, right? So here, why Azure Data Engineer in demand today? And that too, why huge packages for Azure Data Engineer today? This Azure Data Engineer is one of the highest paying job. It has got great boom today. Even to become a data scientist, if you want, even if you want to be a data scientist, a typical data scientist need to have the knowledge about the total data engineering, right? If you talk about the role of this Azure data, see this Azure data engineer. So first, whenever he creates a data warehouse for the organization, that is a kind of structured storage where you can query the data, where you put where you have got the data or you have pulled the data from the various sources. And if whatever sources, when while pulling the data, it might be in different formats. So that it is the work of the data engineer to structure it, structure the data, make the data structured, and store it and monitor the data in the data warehouse. Generally, a data engineer, they are going to provide the data. So they'll be in communicating with the data scientist for understanding this data requirements and also with the business team for the business requirements for the organization. They always be in the mind, they always keep in mind, right? The business needs while dealing with the data, right? Yes. So they keep on constantly processing, analyzing, and monitoring the data by creating data pipelines. And also into this data pipelines, and also make sure that it's the data pipeline is secure and efficient, right? And if we talk about the role of Azure data engineer, the entire data flow architecture designing, right? Creating data warehouse for the storage, for storing your analytical data. The key task of Azure data engineer, ETL, right? It's one of the key tasks of Azure data engineer. So where he is going to extracting the data from different sources, multiple sources, transform it into a structured and where you can perform querying on the data and load that into this your company's storage service. And later the data scientist will be evaluating for further business evaluations. And also like a data monitoring, right? Where the ETL is performed in a proper way and where data is available anywhere and everywhere wherever it is required. And the data security also, right? During this during this process, right? Ensuring that the data security is also a major responsibility of this data engineers to check whether the data is secure at each step of the process without any leaks or exposure. Collaboration and communication, right? They should be keep on constantly communicating with that business team and also with that data scientist in delivering the data as per their needs. And also like automation. So certain things has to be some things has to be automated, which requires minimal human intervention, like extraction of data. So this is the major role of this Azure data engineer. The main thing like creating data warehouse and performing ETL, extracting, transforming, and loading, and the entire flow architecture, data security. Yes. Azure data engineering products or services. Azure SQL. Um, Azure SQL in a simple way, it is a cloud or DBMS, as I was discussing. It's a cloud or DBMS. It's a database. It's a cloud or DBMS database of Microsoft in Azure. It is for performing OLTP operations. It is not for data warehouse. It's just for OLTP operations.
Sir, what is the difference between OLAP and OLTP?
See, OLTP and OLAP. See, OLTP, online transactional processing, day-to-day operations. Analytical analytical processing is a kind of data warehouse, right? See, we have got we talk about if you see in the examples of OLTP, we talk all this Oracle, MySQL, DB2, SQL Server, all these are for OLTP operations, day-to-day operations. Whatever the databases we are using, right? All these databases for OLTP, for day-to-day operations, for any transactions. We're making any online transactions, for any day-to-day transactions, for all that OLTP. But for OLAP, for data warehouse, we have got some specialized databases available for that OLAP operations, like Teradata, Netija, Vertica. These things they are used for this purpose. Analytical processing for data warehouse purpose. Okay, and here Azure SQL is only for data OLTP operations. Azure Data Lake. Talking about the Azure Data Lake. It is a distributed file system. with unlimited data storage in cloud, that is data lake. Previously, if you see Hadoop distributed file system, it is a on-premises distributed file system where you are going to make where you are going to have a cluster distributed file system, right? Where you are going to maintain a cluster, Hadoop cluster, right? On-premise cluster. Yes. Similarly, in the cloud side, in Azure cloud side, Azure Data Lake, cloud distributed file system. It is I said it is a repository of, you can store large varieties of structured, unstructured, and semi-structured data. It is a repository of large varieties of structured, unstructured, and semi-structured data. See, if you talk about not only this Azure data lake, not only this Azure, every cloud data lake, has provide some benefits. They are going to provide some. First thing is unlimited data storage. Secondly, supports all varieties of data. All varieties of data means structured data, semi-structured, so every cloud data lake supports all varieties of data like semi-structured, unstructured. Example of structured data, database tables, Excel files, semi-structured data, right? Like XML files, JSON files. Unstructured like chart messages, articles, raw data, images, videos, all these things, right? And thirdly, supports all formats of data. All formats of data, like if you talk .txt, .csv, .tar, .zip, in this way. Here, if you talk about in this Azure data lake, how the data is going to be stored. Here data in files, See, okay, we have got Azure data lake for storage. Then why we have got other storage services? Already we have got Azure data lake, we have got advantages, stores all formats, all types, structured, unstructured, semi-structured, all formats, unlimited data storage. Why we are going for other storage services of same in the Azure side? Here in Azure data lake, okay, everything fine. Supports all varieties, all formats, but here data in files. If data is in files and if data is in tables, what is the difference you observe? If data is in the form of files, if data is in the form of tables, what is the difference you observe? Can you make a relationship between two files? Can you have relationship between two tables?
Yes, yes, sir.
A relationship between
Two tables.
tables possible, right? We use keys concept.
Primary key foreign key.
Yeah, primary key, foreign key. In the files, in the case of two different files, can you maintain relationship?
No, sir.
No, right? Means here, okay, in data lake, okay, everything in the files, form of files you are maintaining. Means here we cannot set up a relationship. We cannot set up a relationship between files. But we can set up relation between tables. I cannot go with Azure SQL because it is for OLTP. It is for OLTP. It's not for data warehouse purpose. Okay, but we can set up relation between the tables. For example, emp.txt file is there. emp.txt file is there. dpt.txt file is there. Attendance.txt is there. Attendance.txt file. Salaries.txt file is there. Can you maintain some relationship between this?
No.
EMP, DPT, attendance, salaries for the salaries of the employees, attendance of the employees, department details of the employees, employee details. We cannot here okay. We cannot set up relationship here. Assume we have four tables. Assume we have four tables. We have four tables like orders table is there. Sales transactions is the sales transactions, customers, products. Four tables are there. I want the sessions to be interactive. Now, these four tables are there. Four tables. What is the relationship?
If you have any common column, then
Yes. What is okay? If you want to maintain some relationship, right? Yes, generally.
by joins we can do it.
Yes, generally. Okay. For example, generally, order of what? See,
Product.
here order of what? Product, right? Okay. So here order of what? Product. Booked for whom?
Customers.
Booked for whom means customer. And once order confirmed as a transaction. See, order of a product booked for customer once order confirmed, it's a sales transaction. So here we can maintain relationship between the tables. So what is my expectation? So what I'm expecting? So I'm expecting a cloud or DBMS. What? A cloud or DBMS. That too for data warehouse. That too I'm expecting parallel processing. That is nothing but
Azure SQL.
yes, Azure.
SQL.
There is nothing but Azure Synapse. Okay. I'm expecting a cloud or DBMS. That too, I'm expecting uh, parallel processing. There is nothing but Azure Synapse. If I talk about this Azure Synapse, 1 second, I'll come back to this. So why I'm going to Azure Synapse means it's a kind of a data warehouse kind of environment. So where I can maintain relationship. So Azure Synapse, if I talk about Azure Synapse, right? Yes. Here we have here we have a database. Here we have database called Azure Synapse. Here we have a database called Azure Synapse SQL Pool DB. Simply we say like Synapse DB. Here we have a database called Azure Synapse SQL Pool DB. Simply we say like Synapse DB. What is Synapse DB? What is Synapse DB? Cloud data warehouse of Azure. You may ask, okay, Cloud or DBMS for database, for analytics, for batch processing, for parallel processing. When to go for Azure Synapse? When to go for Azure Data Lake? When to go for Azure Synapse means if data is structured. When to go for Azure Data Lake? If data is unstructured and semi-structured.
Sir, Synapse DB and Azure Synapse both are different or same?
See, in Azure Synapse, we have here we have a database called Azure Synapse SQL Pool DB. We call it Synapse DB, right? Generally, we say like cloud data warehouse for Azure, right? It's a cloud or DBMS. So we are going to perform analytics, batch processing, and parallel processing. Same. When to go for Azure Synapse means if data is in a structured format. When to go for Azure Data Lake means, for example, XML file is, if data is, most of the time data is in JSON format, XML format, or Parquet files, this thing, right? We go for Azure Data Lake if data is not in a particular, if an semi-structured or unstructured. Okay. So what I was expecting here, there is no relationship we can maintain. So I'm expecting a cloud or DBMS for data warehouse. That I'm expecting parallel processing. There is Azure Synapse. Now, where this ADF will be? Where you can see this ADF? Okay. For example, OLTP systems are there. OLTP systems, you say me? Examples of OLTPs.
MySQL, SQL Server,
So in
Oracle.
the case of Azure, Azure SQL will come in this group. And what are the other things? Oracle,
MySQL, SQL Server.
SQL, SQL Server,
MongoDB.
MongoDB. Which one will come in the data warehouse side? Data warehouse side. Data warehouse.
Redshift, BigQuery,
Mm.
Snowflake.
So if I can say Azure Synapse will come here. If I can say like distributed file system, but we can take like Azure Data Lake. It's a kind of DFS. And if you talk about that on premises like Teradata, Netezza, Vertica, specialized databases used for data warehouse purpose. Where you usually see this ADF file? ADF comes in which side? ADF. What do you mean by data warehouse?
Sir, where you store structured data basically. After processing the unstructured data, you store structured data.
Storing structured data means OLTP systems can't store. OLTP like Oracle, MySQL.
Yes, sir.
Stores historical data. Stores historical data. See, for example, storing historical data, large volumes, huge volumes of data. Okay. They're going to pull from different sources, from different OLTPs. From different OLTPs, I'm going to pull the data and dump it into this data warehouse systems. See, today if I'm doing a transaction, after some days, it is an history. For example, ADF, I'm talking about this Azure Data Factory, where you can see an OLTP and data wells. It won't be in both. It is not a OLTP or it's not a data warehouse. In between these two, you can see ADF here in the middle, right? ADF, see here, as I was saying, ADF is a integration service. It is a integration service between between OLTP systems and data warehouse systems. It is an integration service between these OLTP systems and data warehouse systems. Means if you see more elaborate way, all transactions captured where? All transactions captured at OLTP systems. At OLTP systems, all transactions captured at OLTP systems. How to bring these transactions? How to bring these transactions into warehouse system? How to bring these transactions into warehouse systems means we have ETL. We have what? ETL. By using ETL tools. By using ETL tools. What are the ETL tools already available?
Informatica.
Data stage, talent. Okay. But
Sir, ADF is also a ETL tool, right?
which one?
ADF.
I'm coming to that. But all these are on-premise ETL tools. All these are on-premise ETL tools. But what I need, but what I'm expecting, but I need a ETL on cloud. I need a ETL on cloud. That is what ADF. But I need a ETL and cloud. That is what ADF, right? It is a understood. What do you mean by data integration service between this OLTP and the warehouse systems? It acts as an, as I was talking, it is a data integration service. ADF is a data integration service. So it won't come between this OLTP or warehouse, between those this transactions captured at OLTP systems to bring all those transactions into warehouse to pull that to extract. So we have ETLs, but cloud ETL is nothing but ADF. Extracts, transforms, it forms it. It's a that way it's a zero coding ETL. I said zero coding ETL. No coding is required for pulling this data. So using ADF, we can connect. We can connect with cloud databases, non-cloud databases, cloud databases, non-cloud databases, NoSQL databases. What is that? NoSQL databases, right? Yes. Using ADF, we extract data, pump the data into data lake or Synapse and perform transformations. Okay, now here it is ETL. Here it is ETL, extract, transform, and load. See, here it is ETL, but our working style. ELT, extract, load, transform. See, first ADF, it's going to pull the data, it's extracting the data from different sources. And it will extracts and loads. Extracts immediately, it's not going to transform. It is not going to transform. Load it into the data lake. Load the data into data lake. Data lake is like a storeroom, storing the data. Data storeroom, where it can store the data, all the data from that storeroom, from data storeroom, that is data lake. Whichever data required, that data only you take it and transform it. Instead of taking everything, first you pull the data, everything into this data lake. Data lake is like a data storeroom where you all the data will be available, but based upon your business task requirement, what is the data requirement, that data only can take it and you can transform or filter and perform these operations. Means what you are doing, ELT, extract, load into the data lake, later you transform it, and after transforming again store it into either data lake or any other storage. Many storage services are available, like you want to store in Azure SQL, or if you want to store in Azure Synapse or in Azure Data Lake.
Sir,
ETL, one second, yes. ETL, generally ETL, if you have seen in Informatica, for small values, it is good for small volumes of data. But for huge, very huge volumes of data, ETL, ELT is the better choice for huge volumes. Azure SQL is a cloud RDBMS for OLTP, not for data warehouse. Azure Synapse is for cloud RDBMS for analytics. Azure Data Lake for cloud DFS. Azure Data Factory, the cloud-based ETL or cloud ETL, right? For data integration service, right? Yes. Someone was asking a query.
Sir, data lake should not come under Data warehouse, right?
It's not under that, but it acts like. It's not a data warehouse. Yes.
Above we have written under data
So
warehouse.
yeah,
So
just I kept like that. But here I have clearly written, but I'm expecting. So here we cannot maintain relationship in this data. Like that's why I'm expecting a cloud or DBMS that too for data warehouse. There is nothing but Azure Synapse. Mhm. ADB, Azure Databricks. Azure Databricks, right? People who has got knowledge on Spark, Apache Spark, forget about Azure Databricks. Forget about Azure Databricks. Talk, we'll discuss about normal Databricks. Normal Databricks. Hmm. Normal Databricks. What is Databricks? What is Databricks means? Provides. Provides. So not, don't worry the people who are not from this background, right? So everything I'll be discussing later in brief about all these things. So what is Databricks means? Provides a Spark cluster in cloud. Normal Databricks. You may ask, what is Spark? What is a Spark? It is a very high speed. It is a very high speed. The processing execution model to process huge data. To process huge data with high speed. With high speed. Because Spark main features, if you talk, Spark main features. Spark main features. Everything in-memory computation. In-memory computation means storing within the memory and processing within the memory. Storing within the memory and processing within the memory. That's why very high speed you are going to see, right? Supports, next secondly, right? Second, supports MMP. Supports MMP, massive parallel process. Massive parallel process. MPP, sorry, it's MPP, not MMP, MPP. Massive parallel process. 100 times faster. 100 times faster than normal disk processing. So you'll be getting the knowledge on this Spark also in this. Yes. It has got very high rate of speed, right? Yes. Okay, fine. Azure Streaming Analytics, data processing. So Azure Databricks will be discussing a lot, right? With PySpark, Spark with Python implementation. Even processing engine for analyzing and processing high volumes of data, the streaming data for multiple sources. Azure Cosmos DB, like NoSQL database, schemaless behavior, random access. So a cloud-based NoSQL database and Azure Key Vault protecting data in the cloud. See, if you observe, in ADF, people generally ask ADF, ADB. Is it not sufficient if I just go with ADF? Should I go with ADB also? Means difference between ADF and ADB. Okay, in ADF, you are not writing any code, nothing, everything you will drag and drop. Everything you are going to perform drag and drop, right? Mm,
Sir, what is the meaning of in-memory computation?
memory means what? Memory means what? RAM. Memory means what? A RAM level, not disk level. Memory level computation. In-memory computation means data storage and data processing both. See, generally data stores in the disk,
Yes, sir.
but here data everything will be stored in the RAM only.
Okay.
If you got some TBs of data, the TBs of data also should be stored in the RAM only and processed within that RAM. And you may get okay, how much those much huge capacities of RAM, how we can maintain means distributed RAM here. Very simple, right? You will have a network, a cluster, we say, right? 10 systems, just a simple example, 10 systems are there. Each system of 64 GB RAM, 64 GB RAM. Each system has 64 GB. For 10 systems, what is the total RAM? Low. For 10 systems, what is the total RAM?
6400.
Yes. Uh, see, okay. 64 into 10, 640 GB. 640 GB, right? 64 GB in each system, 64 GB RAM into 10 systems, 640. If you make it 20, it will become like 1200, around 1200. If you make it 40 systems, 2400 GB. In this way, distributed RAM means even your Spark data is divided into smaller partitions. That partitions are distributed across multiple RAMs of multiple systems and processed parallelly. See, generally, if you want to parallel processing means data has to be distributed, right? A labor example, if you want to do a building construction, if you're one person doing that job, it takes years of time. But the same thing, you divide into multiple tasks and give to multiple laborers, multiple persons. They'll be working parallelly and complete it faster. If more number of labors, if one labor, years and years of time, if make it 10 labors, if you make the 10 to 100 labors, means if you are dividing that into tasks and they are working parallelly, complete in the same way. Spark, here we have got systems, where your Spark file or data object, you are dividing into multiple partitions. Into how many partitions? Multiple partitions. Each partition storing in different system one partition, system two one partition, system three. For example, 10 partitions stored in 10 systems, 10 systems executing them parallelly. The two in the RAM, they are getting stored and they are processed parallelly. Once your job is done, everything will be cleared from the RAM so that you can trigger the next job where they can store the next Spark data objects. That everything, how the Spark computation is going to happen, how it is going to be processed, everything will be discussed, right? Before we go with the actual practical part of this ADV. Okay. And don't worry about the subscription, right? Everyone, don't worry about the subscription. So mostly like in the coming session, right? Or for subscription, for free Azure subscription, right? Yes. So just I'll show you that step-by-step process, how you can do it and how we can work. I said some Azure services are lifetime free. Some Azure services are 1 year free. Some Azure services are 1 month free. So depending upon the services that you are using, and some services like pay as you go, right? Yes. So free Azure subscription, Azure is providing free subscriptions, right? Uh, for this, what are the things required? Your mobile number, you need to provide valid mobile number. It will verify all those. Email ID, your credit card details, your credit card number, credit card details it will ask. Credit card number, credit card that validity, the year, and that everything it will ask, right? It will just deduct 2 rupees from that. It will deduct 2 rupees from that. This credit card details are for your what we can say, it is verifying your details through credit card. Yeah, you are verifying the details through credit card, right? 2 rupees it is going to deduct. Later it is going to refund you that 2 rupees. So just for getting this Azure subscription, right? The things you need to provide: mobile number, email ID, valid email ID, valid mobile number, credit card details, and before that, even if you want Microsoft, okay, yeah, no, not a problem. Any new mobile, you can create a email ID, right? A separate email. Everyone try to create one separate email ID. Okay, a separate email ID you can create. Later, I'll say you step by step how you can do a mobile number, credit card details, and what apart from this, what are the other things tasks means? Your company name it asks, company address it asks, company address it asks, and company address it will ask, and your address it will ask. Okay, credit card details, your company name, company address, your address, all these things you need to provide. Keep it ready. So I'll just show you step by step how to just get this as a subscription, right? Where you can work with the ADF, Azure Databricks, all these Azure services will be available in that. Whatever we have discussed here, right? So you may ask, as a ADF developer, as a ADP developer, you will be interacting with all these Azure services, right?
So these are the only services for data engineering. Eh?
So these are the data engineering products. For Azure, they are got many, but for Azure data engineering, these are the used ones. But here in our course, we'll be concentrating more on this Azure data. Azure Data Lake. Sorry, in our course, first thing is Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, Azure Synapse Analytics. Apart from that, we'll be discussing about Azure SQL Data Lakes, Azure Cosmos DB. Anyhow, because whenever you're working with this pipeline creation, storing data, and getting the data from that, where you will be storing data in this Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, this Cosmos DBs, right? We'll be interacting with these services. Everything will be practical oriented. There won't be any theoretical, right? So how to perform these various transformations flows. You have got many inbuilt transformations. You need to drag and use it for depending upon your task, right? Fine. So you can just check with this.
And sir, also you told that you'll cover PySpark, Python, and SQL something like that.
So here Azure Data Engineer, right? Azure Data Engineer, Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, PySpark, and Azure Synapse Analytics. These are the things I'm going to discuss. Apart from this, and my discussion will be on Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Cosmos DB, and streaming. This is what I have discussed.
Sir, whether we can find jobs with only ADF or we need to learn entire ADE?
See, for ADE, the what we say, the calls will be more for ADE. Azure Data Engineer, right? It's something like
Full stack, right, sir? ADA, kind of.
in a simple way. In a simple way, in your ADF, okay, just like a BTech degree. Azure Data Engineering like MTech degree. With BTech you can get jobs. With MTech you can get jobs, right? But ADF, okay, in the previously, if you go back like 4 5 years ago, right? Okay, ADF when it was, but now ADF also you'll be getting calls from this ADF as a ADF developer. Initially you can get into the company, right, with ADF developer as a Databricks developer. But AD, once you enter, right, you require that entire knowledge of this AD. But I'm saying that calls will be more for Azure Data Engineer. It will ask, it will give the list of this ADF, Azure Databricks, all this. But specifically ADF jobs will be there. So I'm not saying like uh, if it is better if you go with ADE, if you have got time, or if you go parallelly. So you can apply your search will be broad. Your job search will be broad. And that too using ADF. ADF jobs will be internally converted into Databricks jobs and executes. Internally, you are not writing any code, but internally they'll be converted into Databricks and executed by the Spark. But if you want to write some complex, if you want to there are some things which you cannot do by using ADF. Working with kind of graph algorithms, working with streaming kinds of things, ADF cannot work. In that you will take the help of this ADB developer, right? Okay, so if you want only ADF, you can go with ADF. The course fee for ADF is 6,000. For Azure Data Engineer, it's 12,000. See, actually, my more concentration is for this. So each one, I'll be having separate batches for this ADF, ADB, as AD will be there. Generally, 6,000, 6,000, 6,000, 18,000, it is separately if you go. But if you're taking the entire package, it is 12,000, which consists of all these things.
Sir, in this batch only will cover all these things, right? Or we need to attend parallel batches?
No, in this batch only you'll be covering all this. If you want to go parallelly also, you can go parallelly to decrease your time bound. Means if you want to, in less time if you want to complete it.
And sir, I have seen that you also take big data analytics classes like Hadoop, PySpark on weekends. Sir, do you need to attend those classes as well as a prerequisite or no need?
No, not that. There are separate batches. That big data and PySpark are separate batches. This AD batches you will be attending.
No, I mean those are not needed, right? I mean, no, as a prerequisite.
For Databricks, they are required, but I'll be discussing in this only.
Okay, so no need to attend separately for those batches, right?
No.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
And here also will cover, sir, Python and SQL basics, right? SQL I know, but Python I don't know properly. So
So 1 second. 1 second. See this in this Python won't be included, right? In this, what is that? These are the things will be discussed. And if you want to Python separately, right?
no, yesterday you told that it'll cover basics Python and SQL like one,
all
2 days.
the Python syntaxes I'll be discussing all this for 3 days. I'll be discussing all those.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir.
All the Python syntaxes I'll be discussing once before I go with the practical part. But I do handle some, I'll also take some Python batches, right? If anyone interested, you can check with that Python batches. So because by the time ADF completes, can go parallelly if anyone if doesn't have knowledge on this Python, when ADF doesn't require any Python knowledge, first we'll be going with ADF for the first 40 days, right? So meanwhile, if there are many Python batches I'll be handling. If you want to go, you can check with that Python batches. Yes. And anyhow, I'll be briefing you about the Python before I go with ADB, Python syntax, all the Python syntaxes. Okay. From tomorrow, we'll be starting with this actual part. So yesterday and today, just it was introductory session. So if you see Azure Data Engineer has got great demand, you can check with this Google and check Azure data engineering jobs, right? Lot of jobs from there. Tomorrow the link will be changing. You are supposed to get enrolled, right? For this. You can
Tomorrow
see
the
it.
same link or different link?
So tomorrow the link will be changing for this.
Okay, so
So
today basically we need to enroll, right?
today you need to enroll. By tomorrow class timing, you need to enroll it. You can see in the chart, right? The details, payment details, course content details, all the details are available. If anybody have missed yesterday's, right? So tomorrow a WhatsApp group will be created. You will be added to the WhatsApp group. From tomorrow, you will be getting the videos daily to your Google Drive. From tomorrow onwards, you will be getting the notes. Yes. Fine. Okay. So just to get enrolled, for getting the link to your email, don't forget, once you got enrolled, right? Don't forget to share the screenshot of your payment to that mail ID they are provided. You can see in the chart, they have provided a mail ID, right? durgasoftonlinetraining@gmail.com. And if you have got any queries related to that, you can just call that online team. The contact details are provided. Okay, fine. So I'm stopping for now. We'll continue tomorrow, starting with this Azure data engineering. Okay. Thank you all for your time. Thank you. Meet you tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.